A lot of guys in the last video are misunderstanding a ton of things I was saying. So I'm not going to address every single thing in those comments because the one of the controversies, which is very valid, I'm not going to touch. But I'm going to talk right now in this video. I'm going to talk about iron fist and a velvet glove. Okay, so that is really truly what this, okay, you will see a lot of PUAs and people online who misunderstand what a bad boy is. Okay, so they will think, they will have some misnomers and essentially make it where, God, it's so hard to put this into words because you got to see it in real life. Okay, look, a bad boy, what is it? Again, this is a fucking term. I hate fucking terms because it's like, oh, you just understand what that is. And you probably think, like listening to this, you're thinking, I understand what a bad boy is. The problem is you don't. You probably don't know what a bad boy is. That's why you don't have hundreds of chicks, is because you're not really understanding what is a fucking bad boy. So you're going out there, you're kind of trying shit, and you're trying to neg her, whatever the fuck, and then she's like totally not into it, and then you're just like, fuck, nothing works, right? You know, it's like, what is a bad boy? A bad boy is what my mentor Don told me. That's a fucking iron fist in a velvet glove. So you are soft on the outside, but tough on the inside. Now, again, that's another word that's hard to misunderstand, easy to misunderstand. Okay, so what I was doing with those Vietnamese girls is on the surface, okay, because these girls were coming to our door, giving us food, you know, and I was being nice to them, right? Talking to them, right? Just being friendly as they were walking by our room. Because they could easily walk away, right? These are like nines or whatever, like you were saying, like in the West, definitely, hot girls, right? And they came by our room. They wanted to go on a date with us, basically, out to a temple, right? And I was like questioning what was the value of this? What's really at offer here? You know, I was kind of like, I was saying, yeah, you're making this offer. You girls are hot. They were all dressed up, right? And one girl was kind of bending over, showing me her titties and stuff. Okay, and I was like, okay, these are good offer here, you know, young girls in their 20s, right? You know, and we're sitting there all sloppy, we unshaven, you know, we haven't even, and we're staying in this cheap place too, right? It's like $20 a night. So, I mean, it's not that bad of a situation. Like, these girls are coming on to us, right? And we're sitting there looking like slobs with clothes all over the fucking place and smelly sandals. I mean, the place reeked, you know, like, the situation was pretty interesting. It wasn't bad, right? But, and even then they were giving him this offer. And I was like, the thing with most guys is they're going to jump at the offer, right? They're going to say, oh, hot girls want to go to the fucking temple. Let's go. You know, give me a second to shower and I'll be out of there, which is fine. It's fine to go with hot girls somewhere. But I'm like, well, I was thinking like, what's really on offer? Because I knew they were leaving that day. So I'm like, if you're leaving and you're all dressed up with makeup on, we ain't having any sex or kissing or anything. So like, what's really on offer here? Like, if they came into our room and they started kissing us or something, then, or played music and dancing around and grabbing ass and stuff, then I would say, okay, there's some sexual attraction here. But what I sensed is that, I guess, to get into this specific situation, I'm not talking about general, but this specific, is that they wanted us for something non-sexual. I guess what my subconscious was saying. It's like they wanted me to go on a little date with them. They thought I was good looking. They thought I was interesting. They thought, whatever it was, they thought we were tall. You know, they were much taller than them, right? I don't know, whatever it was. They wanted something, right? But I just sensed it wasn't like they didn't want us to undress them and be sexual with them, because otherwise they would have come in our room. They would have come in our room. They would have been talking and flirting and sitting near us and just kind of being girly and flirting and all that. And then we would have said, hey, let's do this. And, let's, whatever, we would have thought of something that would have brought it to the next stage. But they were kind of like, what looked like a great offer on the surface was not a great offer, because, not for me, because I don't need girls on my arm. Like, I don't care what you think. I don't care what other people think. Like, I don't think if I have an ugly girl, I don't care that you don't think she's ugly. Or if I have a hot girl, I don't care if you think I get hot girls. Like, I don't care because I learned that it doesn't matter what people think about that. It's because the reason I'll give you the logic is that you never know how sexy a girl is. You just never know. Like the girl could be not that hot, but the sex could be really hot is what I learned. And it's not even dependent on her. It's depending on you and her, almost like a chemistry reaction in the moment. So a girl who's very unerotic could actually be erotic one time, depending on the circumstances. So I personally never know, and I value that stuff, right? So that's why I don't like prostitutes. I don't like the fake emotions, right? I like the real stuff. So I never know what's going to be real, what's going to be good. I don't know, but I find out, right? So I'm like, okay, if I cared about what you think, then I'm going to do things that people think is sexy. So I might have a girl on my arm, which most men would be very happy. Probably the guys commenting included, everybody. We all get this like sense of like, ooh, you got a really hot girl and you're at a fancy dinner, like you feel this sense of. I fight against that. I don't let myself feel that. If I have a hot girl, I just like totally turn it off. Like I don't let myself be pulled around by that stuff. I just don't. I fucking won't do it because I learned that it gets me. It's like, if you want to talk about a weak man is dependent on what others think. And so once you allow yourself to be bigged up too much because you have a hot girl, you're putting yourself in a trap. Because then the next girl, right? You got one girl and she's hot. And then, you lose her or you want another girl, whatever. You get another girl. And if she's not hot, you're like, oh, she's not hot enough. They won't be approving. So I better not go with her. And I better stay with her. And then she's going to get older, so she's not hot anymore. And then what do you have? You have an old woman, right? So if you're dependent on what other people think, it's like a shell game that you're constantly playing to kind of impress the neighbors, but you're ignoring anything real with your emotions and with your experience with people, right? So you have to let that go, I think. It's not. I'm not saying be tough. I'm not saying I'm tough. I've just learned that it doesn't work and it's a waste of my energy. It's a wrong rabbit hole to go down. It's just a wrong rabbit hole. And I'm proud of that because I've learned this is a very, very big stage in maturity as a man, is when you learn that there is nothing there for you. So like I don't want people to think I own a fancy car. I don't want that game, because what they're doing is you're allowing other people to tell you what to do. If you have that car, if you have that girl, then I like you. Then I'm going to tell you you're great. And if you don't, I'm going to punish you and tell somebody else. Like the dog gets jealous of the other dog getting pets, right? You got to fight against that in yourself and realize that it's all fake in a sense, as far as the only thing that's real is not like evil fake. The only thing that's real is your experience. Okay. So if you like a girl and have fun with her and you feel erotic, that is real, right? So chase the real in your life. Don't chase the real. The real feelings is how you feel, your experience in life. So if you go to see the Eiffel Tower like I did and it sucked, then it sucked, right? And I realized at that moment, because I was hoping to have a feeling, like I was going to get there and feel like I was like 23 or 22, and I was like, wow, I'm going to get there, I'm going to feel something, right? And it was the middle of winter, and I just stood there and I looked at it, and I just thought, I went up to the top, and it was windy, super windy and cold. It was like January, and nobody was there. This is back in like 80, 85 or 6 or something, right? So it was like, it wasn't popular really at the same. There was no like groups of tours or anything. It was just a few people up there. Right? There's a few Japanese guys, because at the time Japan was coming up. And so, there's a few Japanese guys taking pictures, and it was windy, and there was no French people. And it was just like, I realized that at that moment, I made a decision that I'm never going to go anywhere to look at anything again. Like, I'm done with that. I could see it was all fake. And so what I want is, so the night before, let me give you the night before, was New Year's Eve. And I had a little dinner down by the Charles de Gaulle Trois station and Champs-Élysées, down, not on Champs-Élysées, but nearby, near the Arc of Triumph, right? And I had a dinner, and it was super fun. It was a cheap dinner, and everybody was bonne année, Happy New Year. And it was just like so fucking fun. Some guy stole my camera, and I threatened to kick his ass. I got it back, and we had this experience, and then we kind of came together, me and this thief. And he was like, wine, because he realized I was, not going to let him go, right? And I figured out it was him too, because I didn't see him take it. I just knew it was him. I looked around the restaurant, I said, him. And I knew it was him. Then finally he took it from a planter and showed it, and he gave it to me back. Because it was my pictures. I didn't care about the camera. I wanted my pictures, right? It was my first trip overseas. And I was like, fuck, this is important, right? Pictures. I was hanging out with my sister and her husband, and we were just like, I just wanted those pictures, pictures of England, pictures of, I wasn't going to let those go, right? But anyway, I had a great time that night. And it was a great introduction to France because I just arrived that day. And it was just like so exciting to have this interaction with French people. And like, I was able to be myself. And it was the first time I was kind of like a tough guy where I was like, no fucking way is this guy stealing my camera. I'll kick everybody's ass in this whole fucking restaurant. Like, I am not going to not get this camera, right? And then people gave it up, right? I was very proud of that. And then I was with my sister, and it was like all fun, and everything was exciting. And then standing there by myself looking at the Eiffel Tower, it was absolutely nothing. It was like, to me at that moment, it was like a fraud. It was like, wow, I was fooled. I'm the fucking fool. I'm the jester in the court, flying around the world to see this piece of metal, It's like, what a joke. Like, I just called and then that was why, if you go back and listen to the episode I made on the Walk of the Stars, whatever that's called, Hollywood Walk of Fame, that video is like the distillation of the feeling I had when I looked at that tower. But most people never learn that lesson. They just spend their whole life going around looking at sidewalks, but paying the big money, to look at sidewalks, right? And hear stories about other people that maybe are real, maybe aren't. Right. Whereas I'm going around the world looking for experiences, right, with people and friends and things that they're real because it's like my experience is my chemistry with those people, that place, it's it's the only real thing you have, right? It's like your experience, right? And I crave that and I want that. So I'm always out looking for that. Now, I don't mind going to a famous place, because there can be benefit, to going to a famous place, but I'm still not, that's not my, it's kind of like when I get there, it's kind of a joke. I'm kind of like, okay, there's the, whatever it is, and that's fine. There's the Great Wall, it's okay. I finally saw it. Most of the time when I look at great things or famous things, it's mainly just to say I did it. Just because I say, okay, nobody can say shit. Like my mind, in the back of my mind is probably some retarded part of the back of my mind. It's like, you didn't go there, you don't know. But I get there and I'm, no. Okay, this place is like this. Here's the way it is. Here's how much it costs. Here's the experience you have. Here's how fake it is. Because the Great Wall is totally fake. I mean, it was all rebuilt. Like, it was all destroyed. And it never worked. The Great Wall never stopped any invasions from the Mongols. You can't see it from space. It's like a huge fake thing. Like, there's this big myth that you can see it from space. And the Chinese used to always, because somebody said it in the U.S. after we went to the moon, and then they just repeated it, right? But when the Chinese went to space finally, they stopped saying it because you can't fucking see it, right? And so when I got there, I went to the beginning of the Great Wall because my girlfriend was from out there in Jiayuguan in Gansu province, right? And then I realized that as you go along the train along the Great Wall, it doesn't even exist. Like, it only exists at the tourist areas. It's just like there's like very few bricks left, right, from this wall that was never used, right, and that never had any benefit, never any value, right. But probably a gazillion people died making it, right, and it was like a waste of resources, like crazy, right. But anyway, I thought I'm gonna go, and I went to the tourist place, and I took a picture, and I was like 23 or something, right. And then I ended up just by chance at the beginning, because my girlfriend was from that city, which is the very beginning of the Great Wall. So it was pretty cool. Because whenever you do something that you didn't make a big deal out of and you just kind of stumble into something, there is some more value to that. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you're not planning on going to the Eiffel Tower, but you have a stopover in Paris for the day, and then you just end up seeing it, like, then it can be kind of cool because it depends on how much you put into it, right? How much time, money, emotion, if you just feel something, like, for example, if you just got laid in a blowjob, you're pretty happy. But if you got married and gave her half your money and that's all you got, and then she didn't give you anything else, it wouldn't be worth it, right? So it depends on how much you put into things, right? If you're just on the airplane, she gives you a BJ in the bathroom or your chair, which has happened to me plenty of times, that's awesome. You're totally happy. You're on your way. It's no time wasted, no dates. It's totally worth it. I think that a lot of guys who avoid women, you got to look at yourself and say, wait a second. Do I not want to chase women, or am I just unsuccessful and pissed off about it? Because if a woman was laying naked in your bed, like a hot chick who loved you, would you want to lick her pussy and eat her and fuck her, right? Would you want to do that, or would you not? Because you don't have time for that. Like, are you above fucking a hot naked girl who loves you? If you're not above that, then you got to say, wait a second, okay, there's something wrong here, because I'm saying I don't want anything to do with women, but actually if there was one right there, I would. So that's where there's a rabbit hole there to go down, where you can be honest with yourself about where you stand. And you can start to rebuild. A lot of this stuff is rebuilding yourself into that iron fist. And that's through honesty and also challenging yourself and all that stuff, right? So when I say, something like, somebody you might hear, I'm saying like, you're not in the place you should be. I'm not saying that is a big deal. I'm just saying that's where you start. It's like if you have a house and the house is not there, you're building it. The house isn't there yet. There's nothing wrong with that. You got to build the house, right? And you can, now that you're not getting married and you have time, you can rebuild, you can do whatever you fucking want, right? Even if you weren't good when you're young with women, you can get pretty good when you're older, right? You can fix things. You're not stuck where you are, right? I think that's what a lot of fear guys have, is that they're like, okay, I tried stuff, it didn't work, I'm pissed off now, I'm stuck, my area sucks, I'm never going to have success again. And this is kind of like the end of the story. You know what I mean? And, there is things like Sean's interview, right? When he talked about when he got to Japan, like he was taking the train back to the airport, and it was just a small thing. He had a bunch of interactions with women for the first time, really good interactions, right? And he was like, well, that's interesting, but it hadn't hit him yet. And he was on the train, and there was like a 4-seat chairs facing each other against the train. It's an empty train. And then he was like sitting not against the window, but like one away. And then some cute girl like came and crawled like over him, like put her hands on him and crawled over him, like essentially it sounds like somewhat erotically. Yeah. And then she sat next to him and smiled, and he understood that he had emotions for girls, right? And like that there's places where girls are actually worth dealing with, right? And so, and again, we're not talking about anything deeper than that, but it's deep in your DNA as a man to do certain things. It is. You can't, ignore your own DNA at your own risk. Like, you need to, there's just things you got to do in life. Like, there's certain things like the feeling of touch, like it just feels so good. You need to be touched. That's why we shake hands. That's why we hug. That's, like if you're never touched, it's like you just feel very, there's emotions like when someone touches you, even like a foot massage or something, right? Or a high five, or there are chemicals released, right? And I'm sure, those things are super good for your health, and they feel good, right? And then, of course, too much, if you're constantly with women, like, then you kind of like I kind of wanted to get away, and I would go on vacation to get away from women, right? because there's too much estrogen around me. It's driving me insane. And I started, no, really, you start to get confused and like, you just estrogen everywhere out. Sometime I can talk about that. And I talked to another pickup guy about it. And it was very interesting discussion actually. But so let's get back to it. So I guess you got to, okay. A lot of guys are saying back in the West or in the East. So are you talking about essentially Iron Fist in a velvet glove? Are you talking about that in the West or the East? And I'm saying both. Because what is a bad boy? A bad boy is not manipulated. Okay? It is not, it's okay. What is a tough vehicle? A tough vehicle is one that you can off-road and you can bounce off things. Like I remember this ad for Toyota. They had the thing like in the 80s. It was like indestructible. Like it was.
They dropped from.
Yeah, they dropped it, fucking drove into trees and the gullies and flipped it over, and then the thing just kept going, right? Mm-hmm. That is a tough car. Yeah. Okay, that is the difference between that and a shitty brand new Ford truck, which they're just so bad now. Like it's unbelievable. You know, and like they got this big Ford that looks tougher than the old Toyota, right? Like the outside looks tough, right? But the inside is a totally ridiculous pile of shit, right? So what guys are misunderstanding, they're saying like, I need to be a distasteful, angry person. You fundamentally misunderstand what the subtleties of how to succeed with women is, and the thing is like in life, it's not just women. Nobody likes a pushover. Okay, and nobody likes. Just think about it in your life at work. Okay, so there's one guy at work. So one of my friends, he's a environmental engineer. Okay, and he's very successful, super successful. He's not technically an engineer because he never did the engineering side in school. But he's been in the job so long that he's above all the engineers, and they hate it. But he now knows projects so well in his like late 50s that he's so fucking good that like whole massive projects will go away from his company if he's not there. Like the company will say, look, we'll give you this $100 million project, but only if he's managing it. Because they know he's so good and he's able to. Here's the key with him. He's very easy to get along with. He's nice. But he will not let anything slide. So if something's illegal, he will point it out, even with his friends or whatever. It's because he's got a backbone. And so he's tough. So the thing is, in the end of the day, the clients, that's what they need. They want somebody who's a pushover so they can just push illegal shit through, but they don't want to go to prison, right? And they don't want to have to tear the whole thing down. So it's like this thing where you kind of think you want something, but when you actually get it and you go to prison, then you think, well, maybe that wasn't what I wanted, right? Maybe I wanted a guy who was a little bit tough, right? Yeah. You know, so having a backbone is not the same as being an asshole. I think that's what people are misunderstanding. It's a backbone is what I'm talking about. Is when I was talking to those girls, I had a backbone because they were offering me something and I was kind of like, wait, I was smelling something wrong with the offer as far as girls that are really interested in me. Because girls have been interested in me a lot. So I know I can smell. I'm like, nah, something's wrong here. Like, they're interested in me. And you know what I mean? They obviously liked us and everything. And maybe if we dated, then we could have fucked them back in Saitama. But I don't think so. I really think that was just, we like you enough to go with you and take pictures and hold hands and walk around temples. Which is fine. That's fine. Some guys would be all fired up on that. For me, I would not want to do that. Because one, you got to pay to go in a temple, right? Two, you got to take the train to go in a temple. Three, you got to talk to them the whole way, knowing they don't want to fuck you. And like they don't speak, the one didn't speak very good Japanese. The one did. So I could talk to her. But I don't speak Vietnamese and she didn't speak English. So it wasn't very, the train ride there was not looking very attractive to me. I was thinking it through in advance. Like, it's one thing to talk to a girl who doesn't really speak English or doesn't speak good Japanese for a few minutes, but it's another thing to be like 4 hours, which is what we were looking at because we had to take the train, then we were going to walk through the temple, pay to get in, And because the girls were probably broke, right? They probably wanted us to pay the entry fee. They would kind of sit there all giggling and waiting for us when we go to the front, right? So I had a feeling we're going to have to pay for their fucking thing. And that's kind of like the hammer in my mind when I get pictured in my mind. I'm like, when we go to buy our tickets, they're going to stand back. I can see it now. And it's going to be a tough situation because we can buy our tickets and go in. And then it's just like, the whole thing's a farce, right? Yeah, because then they're just going to be pissed, right? And then we just look like idiots, right? So it's like I could sense danger ahead. I'm like, nah. I was like, you got to give me something. I always gave her a chance. Like, you basically got to give me something. Like, what is it that you want? What is it that you're going to do, right? And I've had girls when I challenge them like that with a backbone, but I'm still nice, right? See, if I wasn't nice...
What did you say exactly?
God, I didn't record it, but I was like, just like I always do. I never let girls push me around. I just constantly check everything. I'm like, is that? So I just was kind of like, so you want to do this and that. And then I was challenging them and I was figuring out, I was basically being a detective. I wasn't being a dick. I was being a detective. I was trying to figure out what are they offering, right? And so then I said, okay, so where do you guys live? Saitama. Yeah, you're leaving Tanoa. Okay. So I was figuring out that it wasn't going to work, basically. And they were rebelling against me asking. See, because that's how it is. They're trying to cover up their intentions. Just like we do, right? Like, oh, we're not going to fuck. We're just going to watch a movie, and look at my fish tank, right? They're kind of like, oh, we're just going to look at the fish tank. And then, and I'm like, wait. What's going to happen in there? So then I realized what they were doing. I realized all of a sudden it dawned on me that they were hot. They had boyfriends back in Saitama and that this was their one day away. And I kind of know Southeast Asian girls pretty well now. So I could tell these girls hadn't been in Japan very long. They were probably from the real countryside. They weren't from like a big city, right? And so they were pretty excited, like foreigners, interesting. This is going to be fun. But they weren't like sexually interested. They were just kind of interested as let's learn some English or something, right? Something like that was the feeling, right? And I'm not going to fall for that. So I looked at the girl and finally I realized it wasn't going to work. So I go, you girls have boyfriends back home. And they just started busting up because what I was saying is like, you're just going to use us for a little date here and you got your boyfriends back home. So I wasn't just saying like, I'm not going to go. It's kind of like, I figured you girls out. Now, what is an iron fist and a velvet glove? An iron fist and a velvet glove is somebody who figures it out. Okay, so it's not the way I say it. It's what I say. So it's the same with, okay, here's the best way to think about it. You're a little kid, okay, and you're trying to fool your dad. And you're like, oh, we didn't take the cookie, blah, blah, blah. And then dad's like, he like finds crumbs in the bed or whatever. He figures it out, right? He doesn't have to be mean. He just figures you out. He looks at you. He's like, so what did you do? Now, what happened here? And then you tell him. And then he goes and he like finds the cookie. He doesn't need to say anything. He just holds it, right? And then you feel a lot of emotions, right? That's what the iron fist and the velvet glove is that you are not fooled by their basically trying to fool you, right? That's what kids do. Kids are trying to fool their parents all the time. Oh, we didn't do that. He did that. And he did that. They're constant. And the parent's job is to say, wait. What's going on here? And then figure it out, punish the right kid and praise the right kid, right? Boom. So that's what you're doing with the girls is you are not a fool. But at the same time, if a parent just pulls out a gun and starts shooting the kids or a knife or something, like you can't just be like this crazy person. Like everything in your life is going to fall apart if you're too extreme and you don't have any fine-tuned balance. The way that you deal with that guy at work, the reason why he's so successful is because he knows how to. He's friends with a lot of people, but they all know he's tough, right? They all know he's tough. And so they respect him. So that's what you're getting from the girls. You're tough, you get respect, but you're also sensual, Because think about this. The girl's trying to decide if she should sleep with you. That means things. That means things. That means your face is right next to her face. That means your hands are touching her. That means you're undressing her. Though you're laying down with her, right? She's thinking, how is that going to be with this guy? Do I want to do that? So if you are too erratic or strange, she won't want to be with you. So I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding about a bad boy. I think it's almost useless discussion, really, truly. Because one, this is not a pickup channel, but two, you only find this out through experience with girls. So it's like, are you asking a game question? Right? If you're asking a game question, you got to be honest and say, I want to fuck a ton of girls. I want to learn how to do it. I'm not good at it. Here's what I'm doing now. It's not working. You have to be super honest with me and yourself. You can't be this high, mighty, oh, what about this comment? What about this? It's like, no, you want to learn the piano? You got to fucking play the piano. It's hard. And you got to sit there and practice all the fucking time. Okay? So you can't just ask a question as a snipe. Is you got to tell who you are. What do you want? Right? If you're honest and say you want a lot of chicks, that's not easy for a lot of red pill guys to admit because they're like, wait, I'm red pill, I'm this. What is the line, right? Again, it's the fine balance of being a man, you know. But the main thing is, if you understand with women, is that being a bad boy is being an iron fist and a velvet glove. And the girls, they will all gather around you. Once you perfect this idea, and the words iron fist, velvet glove don't explain it. It's 100 million things that you're going to learn about how to have a backbone, about how to not let people influence you, about how to be in the moment. Because you have to be in the moment with girls. That's fucking essential, is that you're there. So if we're going to talk about any kind of pickup, in the moment, you have to be there. So, like I was telling you the other day, you come up to a girl, you frighten her, right? You startle her, right? What you have to do is you have to stand back. You have to say, oh, you have to make a joke, oh, if you want any, it's not Halloween yet, but I came and, you got to make some kind of joke. And then the girl laughs. And then you say, let's restart this. And then you back up. And then you say, hi, my name's Paul, right? And then the girl's like, oh, the reason why that's so powerful is because when most guys make a mistake, they just freeze. Okay? And they know something's wrong. And they say, oh, fucking bitches, right? What a guy who's successful does is he realizes, oh, I did something to alarm her. Okay, whether she should have been alarmed or whatever, I did something to alarm her. So I'm going to acknowledge that in the moment, because I'm in the moment, right? And then I'm going to come in with a reset, right? I might even like spin her around. Let's reset this and then give her a little Disney spin or something, right? And then she'll feel, oh, this is all new, and this works in real life. So if you're going to think about bad boy and nice guy, okay, that whole discussion is about pickup. If you're going to be all on your own and never talk to any girls ever, you don't need to talk about that. So you got to admit who you are as a man. Because the problem is guys come at it like, oh, I'm done with women. I'll never talk to women again. And then like 2 months later, they're talking to a girl. It's cool. And they're getting all manipulated. It's because they are trying to not do something that they're going to do anyway. At work, they're going to get all obsessed with some OnlyFans girl. Someone's going to manipulate them somewhere. And so you need to be honest, like you're going to deal with women. You need to know how to handle half the fucking population is women, right? And also you're a man who is horny. And especially if you're young, in your 20s. I mean, the idea that you're going to shut off from the world is basically insane. I understand the feeling. It's okay to be angry and have erratic feelings and, you get out and scream at, in the ocean or something, But it's like in the end, you come to reality and say, okay, what's going on here? This was difficult. I'm going to get through it, right? I'm going to figure this out. What do I want? Who am I, right? So I think the thing is that self-honesty is key. You need both. And there are extreme guys who say, I don't need any friends. I don't need any girls. I don't need anything. And, there are guys who will prefer to live like that. And, honestly, I don't think they really belong in the channel, because this is a totally different, this is like a black pill. It's like just giving up. And I think when you give up on life, you are going to pay the price. And if you start hanging out with other people like that, it becomes very, very depressing very, very quickly. So that's the kind of like the what is it called? The confounding thing in life is that you jump into things, you get beaten up, and then you got to go back and jump back in, right? It's like, that's life, Every day you get up, your back's going to hurt, Every day you get up and things are not going to be, and you go and do it again. It's like life is like that until you're dead, and then you're gone, right? So get up and fight. Get up and do it. Just fuck it. Just get up again. Let's just do it again. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it's going to be the same. I'm going to go do it again. I'm going to go do what I need to do, right? And give it a try, right? So I think I would say this bad boy thing and this nice guy thing is a lot of these comments. One, you're not understanding what a bad boy is. And again, girls know what a bad boy is. Yeah, I should say this. You look like a fool when you think a bad boy is this guy. Like, fuck you, that's a bad boy. That women, okay, I should say this too. Most women think that most men are weak because they are. Why do guys put on such a front of this or that? It's because secretly they're weak. And they know it. So they're going to put on a front. Right? Just like you see with fight videos. The guy's talking. And the guy's like, okay. And then bam, just knocks the guy out. Or the guy runs away, right? It's like women are experts at analyzing men. There's one thing, they are just experts. You can ask any woman about any man, and you'll be amazed at how much she knows about that guy. Like, you'll play a video. I had a friend, and I know this guy, and he's very insecure, like deeply insecure. And so I like him. He's a good guy, but he's so insecure that it's hopeless, like basically. I don't know what happened to him, but there's this core of just dark black hole, like just insecurity in this guy. And I know that because I know the guy. But I showed a picture of him to a girl, and I said, what do you think about that? And he looks very tough, okay? He really looks tough. He's got everything that you would think is tough. And she looked at him and she goes, he's insecure. And I was like, no way, how'd you know that? And she goes, it's totally obvious. And I was like, how the fuck did you know that from one picture? She's like, yeah, guys like that, they're like insecure. And I was like, wait, this is like the typical bad boy look here. I mean, this is a total bad boy look. And she didn't even hesitate. And she knew. She didn't change her mind. She was like, no, I know. I can tell that guy. And I forgot what she said, the reason, but she had reasoning. And so I think that when you misunderstand a vital concept, okay, you become like a fool in people's eyes. There's a price to pay for believing bullshit, okay? There's a price to pay. Like, if you think being tough is bad boy, and whatever you think tough is, and then you go and do it, and it doesn't work, and you don't face it, guess what? Everybody around you knows. Everybody knows how strong you are. That's the problem with life. Everybody knows your weakness because you're expressing it in how you talk about yourself and how you, like, everybody knows so much about you. They just don't say anything, because people know a lot about you. Now, if they're your friends, they accept you even though they know all these things. And then, you say, oh, if he ever knew this, he wouldn't accept me. He already knows and accepts you. So you're better off being honest about your weaknesses because people already fucking know, right? So if you're angry all the time, if you feel like it's hopeless, if you're not successful at work, it's like, you know, that's something you can work on if you're honest. But most people, they just kind of, oh, I got this job and I'm a manager. I'm a petroleum dispersion engineer at the gas station. And, you know, we know what's up, you know, down in the hood in the gas station, you know, we fucking, you know, you can talk all the shit, but everybody knows you're going nowhere and that job sucks, right? So let that bravado go. And that's what most guys, the bad boys, I will tell you this. I walk through the hood in America, okay? And I see these guys, right, walking around, acting tough, doing all their shit. And I know, I can see right away, like most of them are total pussies. It's true. It's true. There's just Ford tough. Yeah, they're Ford tough, right? Yeah, there's tons of Ford tough guys out there. Yeah, because I know, because when I have a principle, I stand on it, right? Like I don't go get in fights, but I have principles. And if certain things happen, I'm not going to let them happen. And people, when they see that you really are not going to let something happen and you're willing to go to the end, death, right? You're willing to go to the end. People respect that because very few people stand on principles. I stand on principles. So when people don't stand on principles, they don't have an iron fist, then there's nothing there. You can just push them around, even though they think they're this tough guy, right? The key is that you have principles in life. You're going to pay when you have principles. But it's like the iron fist, you're not just doing it for the girl. You actually have principles that you figured out that are the best way to live. And that certain things you just won't accept because you realize if I accept that, then it goes to the next level. And I'll just say this. That's why I didn't pay bribes in China because everybody said you needed to pay bribes back then. But I said, I look at any time, you know, the mafia takes money from a guy, they always take more and more and more and take his business, right? So once you start giving money to people as a bribe, you're illegal, they can blackmailable, and two, they're going to start taking more until they've taken everything. Because they realize, oh, this guy's weak. When you have a backbone, like I just tell the guy, no fucking way. The guy that really is the best example of this is Mike in Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, the policeman. Yeah. Mike is so solid. Like Mike is really a guy to watch. He stands on principles, and he's also very clear about what it is going on with him. So he there's one scene where he goes in and he's talking to who was he talking to?
The guy that works for Gus Fring, right?
Yeah, it was one of the Salamancas, I think. But anyway, he basically had a run-in with the guy, okay, one of their guys, and the guy had a gun, and Mike basically, I forgot what happened in the scene itself, but he overcame him, and then the cops came. And so the guy was on a gun charge and also going to go to jail for assault, right? And so Salamanca came to him and said, you know, say the gun was yours. Because if you don't say the gun was yours, you're like basically, like he's the head of a cartel, right? Mm-hmm. So he's like, here's the deal. You say the gun's yours, you take credit for it, make some excuse, and my nephew only spends a little bit of time in jail. And that's fine. How much do you want? I'll give you $5,000. So Mike in the moment said, yeah, $5,000, okay. But then he thought about it, and then he realized like that was not enough, right? Mm-hmm. So he went back to the guy and said, you know, basically 50,000. And the guy said, the guy was like, he was like 50,000, like you don't negotiate with me. And he said like, basically either we agree on this or both of us are not coming out of here alive. And then the Salamanca guy looks at him and he goes, Mike is pretty good with a gun. He was not kidding. He was ready to take the guy out. He had it ready. He was going to get the guy. Even if he was shot, he was going to get that guy. And it was going to be a shot to kill, right? So The guy's like, fuck. Criminals and people like that are tough. They like people like this because he's not fake tough. See, he's ready to go. Okay. So the guy laughed and he goes, you're willing to die for $45,000. And Mike said, well, let's put it this way. And this is where he, see, you're tough, but at the same time, you're soft. He explained himself. He said, maybe the $45,000 means a lot more to me. That was it. It was for his kid. That was it. The guy's like, fuck it. He's like, give it to him. So you got to be tough, but you got to be ready to tell people why you're doing this. See, what I'm saying is nothing in this tree can be fake. Everything has to start from truth, right? You can't be tough with women. You can't be a quote-unquote bad boy or whatever you want to use term. I never used that term. Okay, iron fist, velvet glove. That was always my thing. So you can't be that guy if you don't have fundamental understanding of yourself and values and honesty. So it all comes down to that. It's not this fake running around insulting everybody and nagging her and all this. If you really, the girl might fall for a nag, okay, in the moment, but even when you're laying in bed, she's gonna know you're not that guy, right? So you got to be that guy, right? So you're the guy who's like Mr. Violent and crazy. It's all fake, because even that guy has friends and sits around a campfire. You know, like nobody's like that all the time. Women are not totally fucking stupid. I mean, they're not like, this guy is this angry guy all the time and so tough. It's like, no, this guy, you know. So that's the other thing, is even if being forward tough was the best way to go, let's say it was, it's not going to work long term. Girls are going to figure you out right away. You're going to get in part way, and then it's not going to work when you're trying to fuck them or something. Someone's going to stop at the end, because you got to be the guy deep down. And then you'll just sail through the phases with the girl somehow. You'll start sailing through the phases of seduction with the girl, because you're going to be that guy. Nothing's covered up. Like, you're not insecure. You're confident in yourself, even though you know you're not perfect, right? But you're confident in that. And girls, they feel that. And girls know better than us how weak most guys are. Everything is fake with most guys. And the women, basically wives, if you ask any wives about their husband's weakness, they'll tell you everything. They know everything. They're like, oh, he secretly does this, and he does that, and he does that. You know, they know all the weakness. So you know, you know, so that go on the principle. You're never going to be somebody that doesn't exist, okay? You can't be anybody who doesn't. Like, a bad boy doesn't really exist. It's just a concept, right? What exists? Having principles and sticking to your principles, but you're also somebody who can deal with people. Like, if you go out what happens if you just go out and just start kicking everybody's ass? Everybody gets in your way, you start kicking them, and you're going to get arrested, right? What else is going to happen? Someone's going to kick your ass, right? Because you're gonna get into some trouble. You need to be social. Like, if you don't think you need to be social, like, you can just not be social. Okay, let's say you're not social. Well, what about animals? Animals will fuck you over if they know you're not social. Like crows, they'll fuck you up. If they know that you try to kill the crow, those crows will fuck with you till the day you die, right? They will, outside your window and everything, and just drive you insane. It's not just humans, it's any living thing. You need to have principles. And dogs, animals, horses. What's the first thing? We used to have a horse when I was a kid. We had a horse that cost nothing, but we had a horse. And it was just sitting, cruising around in this like field, right? And that horse, I didn't like that horse. And the horse knew it. The reason why I didn't like the horse is because I wanted a motorcycle. And my sister got a fucking horse. So I fucking hated that horse. And I was so young and stupid that I didn't know the horse would know what I'm thinking. But then when I got on the horse, he tried to kill me. He did. He ran full speed into a branch and then just hit me and he knocked me off. Another time he ran full speed with I had shorts on, galloping next to a barbed wire fence. It just inches from that thing. It would just tear my muscles. There's nothing I could do because it would just rip the skin off my leg because we're going full speed gallop right against a fence, a barbed wire fence. And it would just absolutely rip my muscles apart. And he wasn't caring if I hit it. Like he was like trying to fucking fuck my leg up, right? And then another time I got on him and he ran and stopped and I flew off into a brick wall, right? So the thing is, I learned at probably like 5th grade that animals are very smart, right? They're very smart. And it wasn't like I had anything against that horse. I just was all angry and childish because I didn't get a motorcycle that I wanted, right? So I was taken out of the horse, right? And the horse is like I don't know what the fuck's wrong with this guy, but this fucking idiot, doesn't like me. Well, fuck him. I'm bigger than him. Fuck him, right? So the thing is, it's not just being social with humans; it's being social with animals. You need to be social. Fuck. A bad boy with a horse, you fucking horse, they're going to fuck you over, man. Animals will get you, man. You fucking think you can fuck with animals? They will fuck with you. They will. Cats, dogs, everybody. So you probably don't even know how much you need the ability to get along with living things. You need to. You need to understand other people. You need to understand living things and understand yourself. You can't be somebody who's a cartoon character out of a manga. Right? What can you be? What is a possible thing that you could aspire to? A man with principles who won't be swayed, but is not stupidly pissing off horses for no reason. Like I have respect for horses now. I mean, actually, I love horses now, but you need to have respect. That's the problem too with a lot of people who are going on their own is they're not respect. They're just childishly angry at everybody, like I was about my motorcycle, right? But they're not realizing they need these people, right? You need people in your life, right? You need doctors to fix your arm when you fall down, right? You need people to help your friend when he's in trouble in another city. Like there's people that do things for you. It's like lack of respect as if you just own this whole world and you just all on your own, It's like, no, we're part of a system. We're part of a group of living things, right? And people do things for you. Like there's no respect in a lot of guys. Like they don't even understand. People are helping them right now. Like people did things for you, right? For you to be alive. Your fucking mom was feeding you in the middle of the night. Taking you to the hospital. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. So it's like, you have to understand, you didn't just appear here today. People were worried about you, taking care of you. And so, oh, fuck all women, right? What the fuck? Like somebody took care of you. Somebody took care of you. And there's probably doctors and nurses and stuff. It's like if they could see the lack of respect now, they'd be like, I fucking wouldn't have helped that kid when he was in trouble, right? Some teacher or whatever. You got to understand you're part of a system. Not just, okay, now I have money, now I don't need people. It's like, okay, maybe you're a billionaire, you don't need people. Okay? But how did you get there? How did you get there? Somebody helped you. So it's understanding that. You're part of a system. You're in society. You're with living animals and stuff, right? So don't be a fool. Like, don't be a fool because, again, be a fool if you want, but everyone's going to know. Every girl, every guy, people know fake bravado, right? But they also know a man with principles. And guys with principles, they're tough because if the guy's got a stupid principle, then he's kind of fucked, right? So that's the other thing is, what are your principles? Are they some stupid shit that that don't make any sense, because then people won't respect you, because they're like, that guy believes in all this crazy shit, right? So it's like, you want your principles to be like solid. What do you care about? Who are you, right? What do you value, right? That's why I don't let people influence me on that. You know what I mean? Because I know that the only way a man can have values is by figuring it out himself, right? You listen to other people, you look at other people, you learn. But in the end, you have to think, well, in my experience, what's real, what's not real, So anyway, that's I think that basically covers it. And I think maybe this has been a good, because this whole bad boy thing is just so misunderstood. This caricature. I'm so tired of it, honestly. I didn't even know about the bad boy when I was doing pickup. There was no word for bad boy. All I knew is that the manipulated man. I was like, women are trying to manipulate me, and I don't want that to happen. And the predatory female. Women can be predatory, and I don't want to be prey. That's what I knew. And that's real. People are always trying to get the best to their advantage, right? And you have to understand that. And you can let them have some stuff, and then some of the stuff you don't let them have, right? So you're not like a hard ass, the girl wants to eat, like, I fucking eat, she's hungry, right? She wants to eat, right? It's fine, right? We want things. Some things are acceptable. Then you check your values. Where am I at with this, right? You're not like, can you imagine if you just go, you can't fucking eat yesterday, last week, fucking tough guy, fucking leather jacket, I'm going to get some more tattoos, fucking think you're going to eat again, It's like, come on, man. Like, get real. You want to be good with life, with people, you got to get down to the, not only real, but the most core values in that, the roots of that tree, right? And those values, I think you guys are learning a lot of them, So you're seeing like real values at work, and that allows you to see, I could borrow this one, or maybe this one's totally useful or useless for me, right? My situation. But I think, I'll just say this, I think a lot of like true values are more like gravity and physics. They're just kind of there. You can't really reinvent them, It's not like the SJWs say is your opinion on gravity. It's like, there's certain things that are just, you need. You need sleep. You need love. You need to be touched. You need to feel that you're listened to, right? You need to be able to think through your thoughts and express those thoughts. You need to work hard and move things sometimes and walk up mountains, and, you need to laugh. You need to jump into the water. All these things, right? Sunshine on your face, right? We're going to get in a few minutes, it's like, you need all these things, right? So there's nobody who doesn't. Like, people that don't have sunshine, right? In the UK, they get super depressed. It's like, there's all these things you need, right? It's this cornucopia of things that you kind of, and that's why I like being free, is I can just kind of do all those things and then be happy. And then, I'm never tied in where I can't do something I know I got to do, right? Or should do, right? I'm free to go do those things. Anyway, I think that's about enough.